Morning, folks. I'm Dennis McCauley. I am running for Bucks County Sheriff, Democrat. Thank you for inviting me here this morning for this excellent breakfast and the very enjoyable company. Let me tell you a little bit about who I am and why I'm running for Bucks County Sheriff. I'm a 25-year resident of Bucks County. I live in Doylestown County Borough. I have a master's degree in criminal justice administration. I was a police officer for 27 years in Abington Township in Montgomery County. Although I lived here in Bucks County, I worked as a police officer in Montgomery County. I finished my career with the rank of lieutenant, although I was assigned as a division commander. While I was at Abington, I led our narcotics enforcement unit for 6 years. I created an award-winning prescription fraud enforcement program. I planned and managed the $12 million police budget. I led our community policing unit. I worked with our school district on school safety issues, and I created an internet safety program for parents and children, and eventually served on a statewide committee to work on that very important issue. More recently, since I left the police department, I served as the Director of Security and Safety at Bucks County Community College. I'm responsible for all security and safety issues for all three campuses, Newtown, Bristol, and Ferguson. I'm also on the Doylestown Borough Council. My term finished up at the end of the year. I've been there for 4 years. I serve as the Public Safety Chair, Committee Chairman for Doylestown Borough. And I'm also the Chairman of our Regional Police Commission, the Central Bucks Regional Police Commission, which was created to oversee the merger of the Doylestown Borough and the Britain Borough Police Departments. So we have that consolidation. I've also talked about I want to bring this experience to the Sheriff's Office, and I've also talked about in my campaign using social media. I've used that quite a bit in my campaign. I know probably many of you in your businesses either have or soon will be using social media to interact with your customers and your clients. And it's a very important tool. It's a very cost-effective tool. It's not being used right now by the Sheriff's Department. I plan to bring that to the department to help us interact better with the public, serve the public better, help keep the public better informed. Let me talk a little bit about why I'm a runner. Our current sheriff, and I'm sure some of you are acquainted with him, has been in office for 10 years, and he's now seeking another 4 years, which would be 14 years. Now, I'm a fan of term limits for political office. Perhaps you are too, but I certainly am. And I pledge that if I am fortunate enough to be backed by the voters of Bucks County for this office, that I will serve no more than 2 terms. I think that's appropriate. I don't like dynasties, and I'll be there 8 years maximum. I can tell you that, and I will stick to that. When I look at the current Sheriff's Department, I'm concerned about it, as perhaps you are following it. Just 2 years ago, there was a grand jury investigation by the Pennsylvania Attorney General's office. It was described by Fox 29, the TV station, as investigating bribery, witness intimidation, and obstruction of justice. It was very serious things. Now, to date, no one has been indicted, although I don't really think, nobody got indicted. It should be our standard of excellence in Bucks County. We deserve better as taxpayers. There are also multiple lawsuits against the Sheriff's Department. These are costly suits to defend in federal district court. 3 that I know of, including one that's seeking several $1 million for an assault that a deputy committed on an unhandcuffed suspect. So when I look at these things, I also, to me, my background is law enforcement, public safety, leadership. And what I see here is basically a lack of leadership. So I'd like to take my experience and fix that organization and make it the kind of department, public safety department, Sheriff's Department that Bucks County can be proud of and have confidence in. And finally, let me just mention one thing, and it may sound a little trivial, but when I was a police officer in Abington Township, we had our motto on the side of our patrol cars. And it said, to protect and serve with pride. And that was our motto, and that was our mission, and that informed our day-to-day activities as police officers. If you look at the sheriff's cars in Bucks County, you won't find the motto. All you'll find is the sheriff's name. Now, as I travel around and talk to voters around Bucks County, people say, hey, are you going to put your name on the side of the car if you're elected? Because that really bothers people. Those are taxpayer-funded assets, and to put someone's name on, an elected official's name on, basically turns them into, I've described them as all political ads paid for by the taxpayers. So, no, my name won't be appearing in the cars, and certainly my opponent's name will be coming off if I'm elected. So, that's just something I've talked about a lot, and people seem to have an interest in that. So, I want to thank you for listening to me. I'll stick around if you have any questions later.
We'll also say a few words for the gentleman who's running for Recorder of Deeds.
Good morning, my name is Ron Small. Let me first say a few words for my friend Jim O'Brien. Jim O'Brien could not be here this morning. He is on a business trip to London. As a matter of fact, he called me this morning to send his regrets and to say good morning to you. Jim wanted me to tell you that he is the Director of Business Development for Assn International Individual Private Medical Insurance Programs. In this capacity, Jim is responsible for sales, product development, and distribution strategies with Assn Corporation. Prior to this, Jim held positions of responsibility in the network strategy area of Assn's U.S. domestic healthcare business, and before that, he worked for the Hospital Corporation of America and the global market intelligence firm called International Data Corporation. He holds a BA degree from Boston College and an MBA from Duke University. He lives in Yardley with his family. His program, his campaign program for running as Recorder of Deeds is based on fiscal responsibility. He wants to continue the Veterans ID program, make that more accessible to members of the public. He wants to consolidate offices in Bucks County, and he believes that the Recorder of Deeds office can be consolidated with other offices in the county to save taxpayers dollars. And he also wants to make the office run more efficiently and adopt more streamlined programs and computer software for title companies to do their research and work. Again, he apologizes for not being here, but he does work for your support. If I can, I'll talk a little bit about myself. I'll tell you why I am running for Planetary. The Planetary's office, as many of you may know, is one of the 3 clerks of courts in Bucks County. The Planetary's office is responsible for the civil lawsuit, civil division of the court system. It handles basically all of the filings for family court, for support, visitation, divorce. It also handles all kinds of other civil types of litigation. I'm running for Planetary for a couple of reasons. First of all, I've been a resident of Bucks County for 42 years. I raised my family here. I've been an attorney for 38 of those years, and I've had a pretty successful career here. In the course of that career, I've had a lot of opportunity to work with the community. I've had a lot of opportunity to deal with the courthouse and to deal with our Planetary's office. My work has also taken me across the country, handling consumer cases in many other jurisdictions throughout the country. And what I've observed over the years is that our courthouse system, our Planetary's office in particular, is broken. And I have ideas on how to fix it. I thought that this would be a good time for me to express those ideas and to get a job done for the benefit of the people of Bucks County. So let me tell you what I've observed and how I propose to make our system better. First of all, there's a tremendous amount of waste in Bucks County in the court system due to the fact that we have 3 clerks of courts. There's no reason for 3 clerks of courts. It's a relic of the old court system. The 3 clerks should be consolidated, and by consolidating, we can save a lot of money in salaries, the duplication of tasks, and equipment, and other overhead facilities. So we can easily save $500,000 a year, if not more, by consolidating the offices. So I've asked the Commissioners of Bucks County to adopt a resolution and to seek enabling legislation in Harrisburg to permit that. Second of all, we have to modernize the office. The office is antiquated in terms of its systems. You might have heard of some of the literature that we've been distributing and some of the news articles that it's time for what's called e-filing. This will enable lawyers and their clients and other members of the public to access the court system remotely from their offices rather than have to spend money sending papers up to the courthouse or missing a deadline by sending papers through the mail. The third issue that I believe very strongly in is reducing the political patronage systems that are in the Promontory's office and in the courthouse in general. In the Promontory's office recently, there was a $175,000 contract that was given to a company that gave substantial contributions to the incumbent Promontory and to her party, her political party. The contract was given on a no-bid basis. There was nothing wrong in the United States of America for giving money to political candidates. It's the way we do things. But contracts like that should not be given on a no-bid basis. It's not right. It's not transparent. It's something that causes the public to lose faith and confidence in our system. So I've gone to the commissioners and I've asked them to adopt a policy, not only for the Promontory's office, quite frankly, but for the entire courthouse, that wherever you have a politically connected business like that, that those contracts must go out. They have to go out to public bid for competitive bidding so that we can all know that we're getting the best deal possible. This has been a great opportunity for me to express myself and I'm looking for the opportunity to have the chance to fix this system in Bucks County. It's not working well. I can do a better job than the incumbent, and I ask for your support. Thank you very much for allowing me to speak here.
Is running for Council Rock School Board and Mayor. I heard a couple of good speeches this morning, so it makes me want to maybe discard my remarks and go in a different direction. So I'll just leave that there. Not too long ago, a few Thursdays back, at the Chancellor Center in Newtown, a group of people were leaving the Chancellor Center on a Thursday night, and they were in the parking lot and they fell into an uncovered manhole in Newtown. And they were all in this deep, dark, dank hole. And a physician came by and they yelled up and they said, "Can you help us? We're stuck in this deep, dark, dank hole." And the physician wrote out a prescription and he threw it down the hole and kept walking. So then that was helpful. Then a cleric came by and they said, "We're in this deep, dark, dank hole. Can you help us?" The cleric said, "Sure." And they wrote out a prayer and they threw it down the hole and he kept on walking. Finally, a lawyer came by and they said, "We're stuck in this deep, dark, dank hole. Can you help us?" And the lawyer said, "Certainly." And he threw him his business card and kept on walking. And then finally, I came by and they said, "We're stuck in this deep, dark, dank hole. Can you help us?" And so I jumped into the hole. And they looked at me and they said, "Well, why did you do that?" And I said, "Because I'm the head mayor and I'm running the school board and I know my way out of this hole. I've been down here before." I knew my way out of the hole because the hole includes having to have knowledge of strategic planning, capital planning, fiscal planning, and the kind of planning and thoughtfulness that doesn't happen once a year. It happens all year long, over and over again, over a multi-year basis. I have the experience, the education, the leadership, and the service for this position. I've been in business for 32 years. I lead a team of 32 people, professional knowledge workers at Cigna. Before that, I led the merger and acquisition of a $10 billion merger between two insurance companies between Philadelphia and Milwaukee. From a leadership standpoint, I currently mentor 22 individuals from 3 different universities Assn. From a service standpoint, I had served 2 terms on the board of directors at the Samuel S. Fleischer Art Memorial. You may be familiar with that. That's the nation's oldest tuition-free art school, and it's held in trust by the Philadelphia Art Museum. So I had the pleasure of serving both terms sitting next to Anne DeHarningcourt. You may remember Anne, who passed away recently. She was the executive director of the Philadelphia Art Museum. So you talk about cutting your teeth on a nonprofit board, there would be no better person to sit next to for 6 years. From a service standpoint, I also was in the Naval Intelligence. I know for all you oxymoron fans, I'll give you a moment to digest that. I was in Naval Intelligence for 5 years. I served aboard a flagship under a very competent Admiral Wesley McDonald, who went on to become the Commander-in-Chief of the Atlantic Fleet. After I served 3 years on the USS Mount Whitney, I served 2 years at the Commander-in-Chief headquarters in Norfolk, Virginia, where the CNO went on to become, at that headquarters was Admiral Harry Train, went on to become the Chief of Naval Operations. So from a service standpoint, I've been involved in service my entire professional life. I would also say, why me, why now, why the school board? I have the experience. I also have experience with the Council Rock School District. We have 2 children. One son's gone all the way through the system from Marina and Welch to Richboro Middle School, to Council Rock South, to Hofstra University, hopefully to a job soon. Our youngest son is a freshman at Council Rock South. So we have an experience of, I don't know how many years now, PTO meetings, parent-teacher conferences, meeting the teachers, meeting the principals, meeting the people in the sports programs. That experience is priceless in a school board position. We have seen every aspect of public education, and we have seen the benefits of public education, especially with the graduation rates that both Council Rock North and Council Rock South have. And we've lived through that. I had the experience for when the decision comes to cut the 5 o'clock bus, what that means to our family and to your families. I know what it means when they cut 9th grade sports. I know what it means when different educational programs are cut because of pension constraints or other financial constraints that are levied upon the school board. I've had first-hand experience to address those problems, to address the pension problem that the school board's facing, to address the redistricting problem that the school board will likely be facing, to address succession planning. Mark Klein will not be the superintendent in perpetuity. So I have the experience to address those kinds of problems. Finally, I would just add, I think I have a comment here to add. The need, I know it's just a school board to a lot of people, but I can tell you that the need is great. The job is very serious. And I am the right person for the job, and I do have the most experience for the job. So thank you very much.
Paving contractor, and I think he created that hole. We're not running up to it, we're just thinking it would be time to patch. Our next one batting order is Barbara Buckland here. Barbara, not here today, okay. Now we have husband and wife team, Trish Mayer, running for auditor.
Good morning, my name is Trish Mayer, and I am the Democratic candidate for Township Auditor. And as I see it, my job today is really to answer 3 questions for you. One is, why am I running? The second would be, what exactly is a Township Auditor? And why am I qualified for that role? Well, as I see it, my reasons for running really come down to one concept. community that has given our two kids a great education in Council Rock schools, a community that has given my children the ability to play sports on various sports teams and learn leadership and determination and make great friendships. Friendships that my husband and I have made in this community that will last a lifetime. And I believe that at this point in my life I have the time and the ability to give back, and I'd like to do that. As a township auditor, my primary role would be an oversight role, an advisory role. The auditing board, along with an outside auditing firm, basically oversees the financial budget of the township, making sure that everything is in place to prevent misappropriation, to prevent any type of fraud or, God forbid, with our tax dollars. Why am I qualified for that role? I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I am an attorney and a partner in a law firm in Yardley. I have a small consumer bankruptcy practice. For the last 16 years, I've represented individuals and small businesses that are in financial distress. And part of that role is analyzing budgets. It's looking at books. It's debt restructuring. And it's basically creating a financial plan for individuals and businesses to get them out of the bad place that they're in financially and put them on strong footing for the future. I believe that the role of auditor is very similar to that. It's a role that we oversee the finances of our tax dollars. And so for that reason, based on my experience, I believe I'm the best person for this position. I welcome your support on November 5th, and thank you.
Incumbents, township supervisor, running for re-election. And first starting with Jim Cunningham.
Thank you to the Northampton Township Business and Professional Association for this event. It's my pleasure to be here to speak to you all this morning. My name is Jim Cunningham, and I'm running for Township Supervisor for re-election. Over the past several years, the first term of Township Supervisor, we've done a lot, and I believe we've done a lot of good. We were able to reduce the debt, we held the line on taxes, and essentially, Frank and I did what we said we were going to do. A little bit about myself, my background. I've been a resident of the township now for 17 years. I have two children. One attends Council Rock South, the other attends Richboro Middle School. They're very active in the recreational community, they're very active in the school community, and quite frankly, we all love this community. We love the people, we love the friends that we've made, and we want to continue to keep this a great place to live. We want to keep our recreational facilities safe, clean, accessible to all members of our community. We want to maintain a business-friendly environment. We want to promote sensible development in our township. Okay? I grew up in Philadelphia. I'm a graduate of Cardinal Dockery High School in Philadelphia, graduate of Temple University. I have my graduate degree from Holy Family University. I've worked in the mental health field for several years, worked at local emergency rooms, providing psychiatric consults to the medical staff. Also worked for a bit out at Northampton State Hospital. And I'm in the business of helping people. For the past 13 years, I've headed up the Drug and Alcohol Treatment Section of the Bucks County Department of Corrections. And again, that's my business. I'm in the business of helping people. To finance my way through college, I worked as a merchant marine, sometimes referred to as the 5th branch of the armed services. Financed my way through Temple, come from a working class family, and I've worked hard to be a part of this community. And I continue to work hard and hope to continue to work hard for the residents of this community to deliver the things that we said we were going to do. Thank you.
All right, our last speaker for this morning is running for re-election of Township Supervisor Frank Rothman.
Thank you, Gary. Good morning. Thank you very much for the opportunity to meet here. And so people know me, but maybe you don't know everything. I was born in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I didn't come from Bucks County. Okay, my father died when I was 7 years old. I've been working since I was 10. I put myself through college. My whole family did actually. But we worked hard to put ourselves through school. I got a scholarship, went to the University of Pittsburgh, and became a lawyer. After I graduated from law school, I went and was hired by Ronald Reagan, and I became a fraud prosecutor with the United States Department of Justice. I love that job. It's a great job. I love D.C., but I love my wife more, and she was from Churchville, so we came back here. And in fact, we were married right here at Northampton Country Club 25 years ago. So it was really nice. We have 2 children, and I love Northampton. And that's why 6 years ago, we decided to step up, Jim and I, and try to take a little bit of a different direction here with how we run things. And I have to say that everybody here, I know, got some significant support, which we're very appreciative of. Because you did. You took a flyer on us to say, hey, let's see if they can do something different, do it better. And so what we did was our principles were pretty simple. We wanted to keep it clean, open, honest. Be fair to our residents and be fiscally smart. Okay? When we came into office 6 years ago, we had $40 million in debt. Okay, we've worked hard now, we've got that debt down to $21 million. We've almost cut it in half. From 2000 to 2010, property taxes here at the township level were raised 245%. 245% in 10 years. We've never voted for a tax increase. We've worked hard to burn off every invoice. If it's not broke, don't fix it. If we need to replace it, then we have to buy new. I mean, simple common sense things. And it's worked. I mean, we have really tried to take the $26 million budget that we have and treat it like, wow, this is our own money that we have that we're going to be very sparing with because we know how hard you work for it because we're out there working just as hard to pay those taxes as well. And it worked. The last 4 years, we've had no tax increase in Northampton Township. None. 2010, 2011, 2012, 2013. We're just starting our budget now, and for 2014, and I'm happy to say that I think we're on track to make it 5 years in a row. So it's worked. So what we're asking for is another opportunity, one more opportunity. I don't want to make this a lifetime job, but I thought that the reforms that we put in place were important, and they could easily be reversed. We've tried to be very bipartisan. Okay? We voted for more Republicans for board appointments than we have for Democrats. We actually interview people. Okay? Commissions, board appointments are actually made on merit. That didn't always happen. If you were on the inside, you had an inside track. If you were on the outside, you might not get that opportunity, but now everybody gets that opportunity. We want to keep it that way. With regard to the township as a whole, we've tried, money's tight. We didn't want to raise taxes, but even with that, we are trying to attract new businesses to the township. We did fight the big box giant that was going to, I think, crush the center of Richboro. That case is actually being heard today. We voted against it here in Northampton. It went to Bucks County. They upheld our decision. They appealed to the Commonwealth Court. That case actually gets heard today. I think we have a very good 99% chance of winning that case. And then we will bring them back and we'll do some sensible development there. The nice retail shops that are consistent with the village overlay up front, and then have a different driveway in the back, light office building, things like that. Those kinds of things we've been talking with them because I think that they're anticipating that they're not doing that. The mill race in finally been blighted, so we are actually moving forward to have that preserved architecturally, but renovated as well to get it to new owners that will actually do what should have been done, over the last 10 years. Traffic, very big problem. Everybody has talked about it. We have actually taken the seed money, hired a great traffic engineer to analyze our 5 worst chokeholds. We did a very nice planning commission meeting several weeks ago. I don't remember who was there. I think we have a very good sensible plan. I think we agree. And if we get the infrastructure funding that comes out of both Harrisburg and Washington, D.C., we are actually in an excellent position to leapfrog over townships because we've actually taken the time. We've done a township-wide survey, so PennDOT knows that. We have worked this out actually with PennDOT, each of the fixes for these 5 chokeholds, which would be the Mill Race Inn, Roxville Road, Buck Road, Holland Road, and Old Bristol, Bustleton Pike, and Bristol. Out in Ivy Land at Jacksonville Road, the Holmes House Road, and then the big one here through the Giuseppe's from Holmes House through to the across the township to actually widen out into 2 lanes. So we're holding the line on taxes, but we're also being smart. Look, we love this community. I have to say all the things that I've done in my life other than my beautiful family. I've gone into courtrooms to represent the United States. That's always been a thrill. But there's nothing better or that I'm more proud of than at least you guys giving us the opportunity to serve here. So I hope you'll earned a second chance.
Thank you very much. And we'd like to ask the question too, and I guess we'll ask, because we have so many speakers, we'll ask the person responding just stand where they're standing, where they're sitting, and answer the question. So, do we have any questions for the candidates? Lynn, you're going to bring a bunch of stuff. Mr. Mel Smith.
Frank, you mentioned the Davis property. We would all like to see something, I think, other than the giant. Have they committed to doing something other than the giant, or is that just sort of like what we would like to see?
Now, Mr. Dre, you're very nice. I mean, it's Walford Development, Lynn Davis, like it very much. It's his property, so he has an opportunity to develop it. It's just that it has to, you can't do it where you're going to overburden the township. And so, in discussions with Mr. Dreyer, he actually has recognized that the chances of appeal are unlikely. And they're still pursuing it. As I said, some work today, this afternoon. And when he loses, then he's going to come back. Because he actually is one of the most, I guess, the most principal investor in the property. So we've been in formal discussions that, look, we made it very clear to him as a township that we really did like the original sketches of the giant, which had the nice shops up front. It was just that you can't put a 65, 70,000 square foot big box in the back and that kind of traffic. I mean, the traffic delays are going to be 3, 4, 5, 6 times as high during peak hours. And the only way it was going to work under their plan was if we actually took the inside lane, which I thought was crazy, but from the Taco Bell to the Spread Eagle Inn, so we've got 2 lanes going north, we've got 2 lanes coming south. They were going to remove the inside northbound lane, and that would actually be what we call the suicide lane, which you could go from the Taco Bell up to the Spread Eagle in either direction and turn right or left. I mean, it just made no sense. You definitely would need a traffic light to allow proper exiting out of that giant, which is right by Tohab, but they admitted that, look, PennDOT's never going to approve a traffic light when you've got one at Bustleton and 2nd Street Pike, and then you've got another one as close as Holmes House and 2nd Street. So the hope is now that after this case is done, he's going to go back, reevaluate, and come back. I mean, they do have other things that they discussed. They obviously wanted the giant. It would actually be the most money for them. But, it's just too intensive development for that parcel, for our program.
I have a follow-up to that. So, in the real world, assuming that they come through, I mean, their position was always that you needed the giant was the train that dragged everything else along with it, and in this economy, there's not a lot of companies that have the kind of capital needed to invest or project. So, assuming
David has even said to me, he's not getting any younger, okay? And he has a lot of money. Neither are we. And he has a lot of money that he's sunk into this project. So I really think it's just a matter of, he's got the shot at the appeal. He's going to take it. Once he loses it, he's going to come back. And then he's going to have to, recalibrate and say, okay, I'm not going to be able to get $20 a square foot, like John, I think he's going to pay for the development, and accept something that's not going to be as high of a return for him, but something that actually works for John. Still work for him, and still work for us.
And what if he doesn't lose?
That's a good question. I guess if he doesn't lose the appeal, there's a whole bunch of ways that it could actually come back. It could actually be remanded back for further. I doubt it's going to come back and say no, he gets the giant. The way that the appeal would work is to go back to Bucks County for us to have additional hearings if they brought the easy to get through process. But it was an extremely fair process. I mean, it wasn't only in 1 or 2 meetings. I mean, there was through the planning commission we had, I don't know, at least 12 meetings that were many hours long. All of the witnesses that we wanted to present, we presented. All of the experts that we had were presented. We didn't include anything. So he did get a extremely fair hearing. So I don't really see that becoming a court reverse.
Well, go ahead, Bert. One more call.
Sure, go ahead.
We'll keep you here all day. There was a plan that was talked about from the spread eagle down to the next lake to revitalize, different paper paintings and fancy lights and so forth. Is that on the plan anymore? Or is it out?
Well, they actually did that next street over on Township Road. So the plan is, the biggest chunk of development would be the giant site. So what we want to make sure is we're only going to get one shot to do it correctly, do it right. And so everybody, I believe, on the board is super committed to the Village Overlay District, which allows that. A sweeping sidewalk, nice street lights, and at least, even though we're not going to maybe be like Newtown where it's going to be actually pedestrian, at least give it a look of pedestrian friendly and at least encourage that. And so it could work for that corner, and it's going to come all the way up, as I said, OHAD when it gets developed, and they're not going to parcel it out, it's still going to be developed as one full site. So then the hope is, once that's there, then that's going to prompt any kind of redevelopment for the other properties to do that and carry it out.
It really needs to be rehabbed, something that full block or beautiful.
Sure. No, look, we have a beautiful town, and we definitely deserve a beautiful town center. So we do have a kind of getting there. The first thing was the big box giant was just not it was just what it would be a killer. So, and we wouldn't be able to get rid of that. I mean, traffic would only increase, and without the improvements, even with the improvements, with the intensity that would be added, we'd still be moving forward.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for any of the candidates? Nobody wants to know what profundity means? Okay, well then what we'll do first is, before we adjourn, is anybody want a last chance at picking the tickets for our banner